Welcome to the Redvee TV Instant Fan Reaction, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, as we look back on Saints' 2016 victory over Wakefield Trinity this evening. I'm joined by KP and JP.
Not funny.
Oh, it's tickled you, that, hasn't it? Right, listen. 9 wins on the bounce. The champions, top of the table, never in doubt. Christian Wolf, he obviously watched Redvee TV this week, or Mike Critch did at the start, and decided to give us an answer about where the real Joseph Paulo is. And then they obviously saw me talk about how we wouldn't lose to Wakefield and I'd wear a Wigan shirt if we did. And the team talk obviously consisted of, let's have a little bit of a laugh at him. Make it interesting.
I've sourced a 2XL Wigan top just in case we play like that again next week.
2XL? Listen, I've lost £10 in the last 4 weeks and not on bets.
It's all right. It's got to get over that head first.
Right then, let's pick the bones out of that one. The completion rate in the first half told its own story. 55%. Completion from Saints, and quite honestly, it just was not good enough, was it?
0% after 11 minutes. When have Saints ever gone 11 minutes with 6, 7, 8 sets and dropped it every time? Honestly, what is that?
That's it. 4 handling errors in the first 7 minutes. I mean, I know it was greasy conditions. The rain had stopped over there, hadn't it? But still. It was poor, wasn't it? It was poor.
Do you just have to look at it and just go, it was one of them, and we're completely off the boil? Or does this feed into maybe a bit of a longer run of games where we don't seem to be getting the ball out wide, we don't seem to be passing through hands? It tends to be a lot of one-out rugby at this moment in time. Do we have anything to be worried about at this moment, JP?
Well, we're not.
No, you're KP.
Clicking.
JP.
I thought you said KP.
No, JP.
You're gonna have to start calling him. You're gonna have to start just calling him Kev then.
All right, Kev.
Yeah. Personally, I think we've had a pretty good run of time between games. And I still don't think we look fit. I think we look shot after 15, 20 minutes. I think, again, Walmsley's done big minutes. I'm going to question why we've put Jack Wellesby on the bench and not brought him on when you've got Jack Ashworth who can prop, or when you've got Joe Batchelor who can come in at second row and then maybe just give Dom or Zebby or LMS a bit of a run in the middle at propping it. The best thing about this situation is we play them again in 6 days, and if ever you need a rocket, it's go home, watch that DVD, come in tomorrow because you're going to tell me why you were that bad and why we couldn't keep hold of the ball, why we rushed it as if we were playing grand final football, it's really frustrating. Alex Walmsley has arguably been our best player so far this season, but he's trying to do the old John Wilkin offload every 5 seconds thing tonight, and he's probably made more errors tonight in one game than he's made pretty much all season.
There was one I could really criticise for tonight. With 3 minutes to go, we're up by 8 points, and he's wrestling as hard as he can in the tackle to get a quick play of the ball when you just take your time and make sure you don't give any errors away. Do we look a little bit stale at the moment, Kev? KP?
You've got to get the right Kevy.
See this stupid JP stuff, you've confused it. Let's leave that out now. It's Kevin KP.
Right, you're KP and you can be...
Kev, thank you. KP, answer the question, bro.
Yeah, you know what we probably do? I know it's all about getting your combinations and getting your set team usually where you kind of want to keep a settled left hand, right hand side, settled halfbacks. But I don't know if that was a great advertisement for rotating. There was a bit of energy there when Dom Peru came on. As Kev says, I think we'd made 5 interchanges when we're going into like 70-odd minutes. I think that'll do us good fitness-wise because people are going to have to do long minutes. So it should kind of, when they pull back on the minutes, they will be able to do longer if they're needed. But yeah, it was a strange bench to choose. It looked lightweight. You'd have thought Louis might have started on the bench and come off and give us a bit of impact from prop. Because otherwise, we didn't have a lot. I mean, Zeb looked good when he came on. Brought a little bit of experience to that left-hand side and kind of, I don't know, shored us up a little bit. And I'm not saying we were getting absolutely battered. We were playing very well. And fair play to Wakefield for taking the chances. But it was more of an attritional, bit desperate game.
I personally think Louis was our best player tonight, but I'm really disappointed that whichever people, to be polite, choose our league, the 2 Saints players they put in there were Coote and was LMS the other? It might have been LMS, but he's come nowhere near in the vote. But yeah, you're right. And in terms of your question, Dave, about do we look a bit stale? I think there's a bit of if Justin Albrook was in charge, I'm not gonna jump on the Wolf haters bandwagon, but if Albrook was in charge, there was a degree of professionalism last year when we come up with games like that where we just did what we needed to do. We've similar to the Wigan game a couple of weeks ago where we were playing a very youthful team. I'm not going to say a bunch of kids because that's disrespectful. They're not. They're adults and they're very good rugby players. But I don't know. There's something not quite right there. And obviously we've all been messaging during the game and stuff. And Kev's mentioned a couple of things. But I want to throw something in there. I think this whole hype about Lewis Dodd, I think that's affecting Teo from an attacking perspective. And I don't think... Lomax for me today, when he threw that, and I don't think it was staged, I think it was opportune. I think he tried to offload the ball to Zeb on his left shoulder, and the player's gone. I think it was Wood or Copjack or whoever, and he went through the gap, and then as he's gone to offload inside, they've knocked on. That's the only time I've really seen Johnny really break through a line for quite a while. That 6 and 7 combo isn't doing what it did last year. So far, since lockdown. I know we did against Leeds, but there's something not right, and I don't know what it is. It's not my job to know what it is. It's probably Christian Wolf's and Richard Marshall's, but it's really frustrating. It is really frustrating. All right, we've won. Set the positives. We've got 2 points. Our win percentage has gone up by 1.92. Warrington, we're going to drop points now. Catalan are hammering LKR, so one of them two's going to drop out the top 4, so that's a positive. But I don't know. It leaves a sour taste in your mouth, doesn't it? We've won, and I still feel a bit like a bit angry, a bit aggressive.
Okay, you've talked about Teo a little bit there, and you say the pressure of Lewis Dodd is affecting his game, but did he not have that potentially last year or the year before from Danny Richardson? For me, at this moment in time, over the last few weeks, Theo's not been doing it. I don't know. He's reliable. He's steady, but for me over the last month or so, I don't think he's offered very much. And I think it's probably about now time that you give Lewis Dodd maybe a couple of games, even if just to give him that introduction, see how he goes. And do you know what? It's not necessarily sink or swim. You put him in the side. If he does well, you give him that little bit of a run. If not, you just give Theo a little bit of a break and then you reintroduce him into the side.
Yeah. And sport, Dave, is about confidence, isn't it? And last year, I think Teo just went from strength to strength because at the start of the season, he was the chosen one. Justin Albrook had the opportunity to choose Danny Richardson or Teo, and he went with Teo. And he went from strength to strength. Him and Johnny just formed that bond, that partnership. They ticked nearly every week. But you're right. Is it time to bring in Lewis next week? For me, yeah, because he ain't going to do any worse. Our last play option is probably the worst in the league, and we're the best side, and have been for 3 years.
KP, what do you think? Just to put that little bit of excitement in.
Yeah, I think as far as last play goes, they were saying on commentary that people were following Coop. We need to change that up a bit. We've got 2 halfbacks on the field. as you say, I want to see a little bit more from Theo. His kicks are good when you win it, like that bomb. It gives you time to get your defensive line set, but it's not really going to trouble too many wingers or fullbacks, is it? As I say, I think it's a good advert to start rotating. Next week's probably ideal for it. You go in and you're not dropping people, you're resting them. You're giving them a minute out because the games are going to start going Thursday, Sunday. Why not Lewis Dodd in? Oh, listen, even if it's Jack Wellsby, if he's actually the next cab off the rank. But as well, on the bench, can we have a 9 there? An actual 9 to give Robes a rest? Or a forward? Because that's what I want to see with the rotation as well. Who does Christian Wolf trust as his backup 9? I know he said Aaron Smith will get game time going on further into the season when we rest James Roby. But why is he not on the bench tonight? Is there a knock? Is there something like that? I don't know.
Are we wrapping Robes up?
I think Wellsby on the bench and then not putting him on at all.
Yeah,
that's
daft.
Something that hasn't worked.
But Robes made the last try. He was there. He was full of running. He was still involved. He was still involved defensively, really heavy at the end as well. I'd love to see how many tackles he's got through. I think they said something like Morgan also got through 45, which again, and we did a lot of defending tonight as well. But you're right, Robes ain't going to do 80 minutes every week. But the decision to put Jack Wellsby on, I just don't get it. I don't get that decision. I agree with you, Kev. Why not Jack Ashworth and have a bit more firepower in the forwards?
That's it. You're right with Roby setting up that try and still being full of running. But how are we going to know who the next 9 is at Saints if they're not getting good minutes? And that's what I want to see.
Yeah, you can only assume there's something not right with Azza. But then if there's not, then what's Josh Eves? Josh Eves is as good as sitting on the bench just in case than having Jack. I mean, what must Jack Wellsby be thinking now? Because I'm not being funny.
It might have been the plan to go through big minutes, and if we're ahead, he comes on at 9 because Wolf did mention that in the week that he could slot in there if needed, and it might just be I'm looking at the options and keeping him involved and keeping him game time. But I just think we're against a team like Wakefield with their forwards who will give it to you, the likes of Eddie Batty, who, listen, he did great for London. He's going to do exactly the same job for Wakefield. For Fifita, we all know about. You've got them players who are just going to keep coming at you, and you just need to freshen it up. And we need a player to step forward, one of the younger forwards, to step forward and start going, right, I'm going to take this mantle of the next prop that Saints are bringing through. I thought Matty Lees was much improved tonight. He's got a lot of grief on social media with people just conveniently forgetting about that injury that he had. He was much improved tonight, and I think he'll start going from strength to strength as well. But it's now up to kind of the academy lads to put their hands up and say, listen, I'm ready if you need me. Give me a shot.
What do you think of Josh Sims' performance tonight, Dave, Kev? I'll tell you why I asked this, because I think we looked desperate early on to get him over the line for a try. I think sometimes we forced it a bit in that left edge. He did, but... Yeah, he did, but I don't know. I don't know if we're trying to just get him over the line and if that's affecting maybe our left edge shape, fluidity kind of thing.
That'll come, Kev. That'll come. He did really well for Coots' try.
He did, yeah.
Just having the like kind of sense of mind just to put the ball back into play. I think he did fine. He didn't really make any mistakes. There was a high shot, I think, that kind of give Wake a bit of field position. But you're going to get that in rugby.
He scored off that, didn't he?
I think he did fine, though. He did absolutely fine.
I think you need to essentially tell him it's his shirt until the end of the season. He'll play every game and just give him that run of confidence so he doesn't need to potentially feel like he's forcing it. The positives for tonight, we weren't great the first 20 minutes, we weren't great all game. But after being sloppy and conceding them first 12 points, we looked rock solid in defence essentially after that, didn't we? There was one great try-saving effort from Matty Ashurst. It was a Ham's piece. What was it, Kev?
A wafer-thin piece of ham away from scoring.
Yes, that is a top description, and that is why you do the Twitter more than me sometimes. Also when I can't find my details. But yeah, listen, it was sloppy, but So use an old football analogy, champion teams win when they're not playing well. And we've done it, and we're not playing well, and we're another 8 games out from when we need to be performing. So a win's a win. You take it, we move on, and you hope we get better next week.
Do you think there is a bit of that? A bit of... I mean, I know you put someone on at half-time, and I said... I was going to say trophies don't get given out in October, but they normally do, so I didn't say that. I said trophies don't get given out in round 14, and you're right. But do you think having been through the season the players have been through, there's a bit of that in the mind that... I'm going to look at one particular player, Johnny, because last year he was just tip-top every week. And I said it a couple of weeks ago when I was on, and I'm going to say it again. I still don't think he's firing. Do you think there's a bit of that in his mind that, well, he doesn't need to be now, and hopefully we start to progress to that? Because I get concerned about the chopping and changing that's going to come up, because that always has. It's kind of disgruntled us a bit when we chop and change the team. We don't seem to be fluid week after week.
I think it comes down to 2 things. Sorry, Kev. I think it comes down to 2 things for me. When we're now moving into the part of the year where we don't traditionally play that well, when the pitches start getting a bit wetter and we have to change our style of play. And that performance reminded me of the Redvee TV preview show last night, when we just looked like, oh, no need to moralise, and it's just dragging in and contractually obligated. And it felt a little bit like that at times. It doesn't feel like... It must be difficult playing games week in, week out, going through the protocols, empty stadiums, and I don't know, is it fatigued a little bit of the whole situation?
Mental fatigue as much as physical fatigue, yeah, you might be right.
Kev?
I mean, if we're picking at Johnny Lomax as well, I'd say he's not had a set left centre with him, and he's trying to get a new, because Zeb hasn't played every game as well, so he traditionally plays left hand side, and that's
right
not
left,
been settled.
Yeah. No,
and that pretty much says what you're saying about the combinations. But I just think that because we've not been settled, it won't necessarily change that much if we drop one different player in there. So, as I said, combinations are key, but that was probably an advert for turning around and saying, let's have a look at another combination or two, and just see. Again, yeah, if we're going to be positive about it, and we should be positive that we've come off a win.
Yeah, we've won.
That's it. There were glimpses in there that we, like Lomax's pass out to Grace, and that's a good finish from Grace. It's not one of his length of the field ones. It's not one of his diving to finish. It's something slightly different where he's burrowing under. So there are glimpses of good stuff. And I know you said earlier, Kev, about us looking gassed after 15, 20 minutes. If we're looking gassed, then Wakefield are out on the feet. Because that's it. I think our fitness gets us through that game.
I think, though, Kev, in response to that, adrenaline seems to be something that a lot of teams playing against us get a big kick of, and we're not necessarily... I mean, we had it against Leeds, and I know I'm going back some way, but against Leeds, we kept getting that little drip of adrenaline, which just kept pushing us on, kept sending us on, kept making us perform better, minute by minute, every 10-minute spell, every 20-minute quarter, whatever. But and I'm not going to go back onto referees, but again, I know I mentioned it in our text. The 6 again rule is so conspicuous at the minute, because I've seen the exact same scenario happen both sides of the field, and one team got a 6 again and the other didn't. I almost said to Dave, just video them and share them when you share the screen later, because it was the same tackle. They got a 6 again, we don't. It's annoying. So moving into next season, do I want the 6 again rule to exist again? Because we said back in the start it'll suit us. It hasn't. In fact, if anything, it's been to our detriment.
Can I tell you one rule that I absolutely hate? And I know we do it when we're winning. When the ball's kicked dead, the shot clock going on, and a player just standing there 5 minutes.
And you get 30 seconds rest.
And you get 30 seconds. Not because you're trying to form a scrum, just because you're getting your team a breather. And I'm not being funny. As a fan watching on TV, or anybody watching on TV, that is not a good advertisement for the sport. If you want the sport to be quick, 10 seconds, there's no need for it whatsoever.
Yeah. And Ryan Amps just kicked us to death tonight, hasn't he?
Especially when I'm watching David Fafita doing it, by the way.
Yeah, Ryan Hampshire could have played in a dinner jacket tonight. I thought he had a brilliant game. His kicking game was tremendous. But yeah, there could be worse things you could see though, Dave, on in sport. I mean, if you've ever watched rugby union and watching them having to set and reset and then set and reset a scrum, and 5 minutes of the game go out of it, that is boring. And I tell you, that's some boring Saturday and Sunday afternoons when I've been sat there watching rugby union thinking, oh, why have they not quickened this up? It's true though, isn't it? Because that's it. It's all about spectators. If we've got to watch it on telly, which I hate watching it on telly, as we all know, we'd all rather be there. You try and take yourself away and try and watch it as a passing fan. For a start, they need to do what Sky Sports Football did and get a bit of fresh in the commentary positions. And two, there's stuff like, as you say, the time wasting stuff. We do it. Everybody does it. There he is, the lad. We do it. Everybody does it. You've got to cut that out.
Shorts in Scotland.
It's Scotland.
What a brave man.
He's here. Peter Elder representing the Redvee. He loves it. He loves it. Right, couple of fan reaction tweets. Disgraceful performance. Might have won. We've got to roll our sleeves up. Well, I think we did roll our sleeves up. It wasn't pretty, but we got the job done. Yeah, I know I talked and I joked saying basically we will not lose to Wakefield over these 2 games or I'd wear a Wigan shirt. I still stand by that, but there's not a divine right to win. Sometimes you don't play well and sometimes the opposition does. And I think you've got
Dave, who have you upset there? I have a minute delay on my Sky goal.
Oh, sorry, Barry, but maybe you shouldn't come onto Twitter then. That's not your alter ego, is it, Kev?
What have you done? What have you done there? Give the score.
I think I tweeted the score, the final score.
Oh,
I'll tell you what is annoying, and it's a good job I got to watch it working from home. When Stuart Pike gave away the Canberra and Sydney result from this morning, I know loads of people who've recorded that because they've been at work. Come home, started watching Saints, and now they know what score that game was.
Well, do you know what it might have been? I tweeted Saints win 2 minutes before the end of the game. Maybe he thought I'd done it. Maybe he thought he was like way behind. Right, okay. Matt says we were woeful, terrible, abysmal, whatever word you want. Well, you've picked 3. The result does not make up for what I've watched. A healthy Wakefield would have done so much more damage as well. If buts and maybes, we could have performed a lot better. No way this can be excused and comes as part of a string of performances. Yeah, we've agreed. No set plays, fair play. Yeah, no real imagination, poor. Yeah, generally I'll agree with a lot of that.
Let's be positive though, eh? Still top of the league.
Go back to Peter Elder to be positive. Martin, there we go. We got there in the end and lessons need to be learned. A win is a win at the end of the day. AJ, done a nice few gift. Dave Powell, good defence. Dreadful with the ball. More than the VR were as bad as we were. Yeah. Peter says, oi. And Phil Clark, did you see just before, or listen, just before their last try when I think
he's an idiot,
and he shouted, "Go on!"
Yeah, he's an absolute idiot, and he wanted it to be a penalty try because 8-point try takes it to 20 each, and then we're into golden point again, same as old KR.
You know what? It's not even funny.
It shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. Imagine Steven Gerrard commentating on an Everton game.
We know we've got like Phil Neville and that doing it, and when their own team scores, they cheer. Do you know what? I don't mind Phil Neville, Gary Neville cheering when they score, or Carragher when Liverpool score, etc. But you don't actively cheer the opposition when you're on commentary. It's dire. It's like at the start of the game, he makes up a narrative. Basically, what Wakefield was playing well because we were worried about being embarrassed. It's just, what? Really?
Their first try, when the video ref was looking at it, and I'm not convinced that was definitely onside. I'm not going to say it was definitely offside, but I'm not convinced it was definitely onside. But their first try, he said in the commentary, he said something along the lines of, he's definitely behind the play. And then as soon as they show it again, once we've kicked off, he goes, does he look like he's in front there? He's doing it to wind people up. That must be his kind of brief. Wind Saints fans up as much as you can. Get as much reaction on social media. So
And
Sky
on
Sports
Redvee
will be,
TV. Yeah, it's worked.
yeah, and on, yeah,
So
it
it's
has,
worked. Yeah, it's worked. It's worked.
Right, before we go, Kev, we have to make sorry, Kev Cunningham, I have to make a formal apology to you.
Go on then.
I'm very, very sorry for referring to you as Redvee's very own Joseph Paolo.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because he's 33 and you're 3. And you've been seen more times than him lately. But do you know what? You took him with good grace. No, you didn't.
On my Wikipedia page, can I have a...
He was not happy.
I wasn't happy, no. It's Andrew Molyneux from the Jerry Group, but it's all right. I'll take it gracefully. People forget that I've got feelings. Just like a bit of banter, people forget I've got feelings, but it's all good.
Kev, we've seen what you put on Facebook groups trying to wind Wigan and Warrington fans
Not
up.
Wigan fans. I've not wound Wigan fans up for years. I might wind the Warrington fans up, but that's just Sunday night before bed reading. It's fun, isn't it? 65, by the way, 65.
Right. Thanks for joining us, both of you two. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will do the same as we did the other night next week if we want to refilm it. We might just use last night's, but we'll see. The sequel's never... Actually, do you know what? Sorry, before I go, we said the original was usually the best and the sequel wasn't any better. It bloody better be.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Right. Cheers, chaps. Catch you soon.
Take care, gents.
Take care.